The Cardinals were victorious this weekend at Illinois Wesleyan, shutting out the Titans 24-0 to take sole possession of first place in the CCIW. Before they continue their quest for a conference title this weekend against Elmhurst, there's only one place you can catch all the action, right here on the Red Zone. Welcome to another edition of the Red Zone. I'm Marc Dahlquist. With me is head coach John Thorne. Coach, 24-0 victory at Illinois Wesleyan this weekend. Were you expecting the game to be a little closer than that?
Well, I was hoping it wouldn't be closer than that. 24 was close enough, but yeah, I think we really were. And we were very pleased with the way the guys played on all three phases. The offense was able to, run the ball for a couple hundred yards, and the defense had 4 huge turnovers and some big stops, and then the special teams, especially Tyler Rashi with his fantastic day punting, made a huge difference in that ballgame.
With the victory, the Cardinals move into sole possession of first place in the CCIW. Did the team know what was at stake going into that game?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. 2 years ago we were down there, and we lost in overtime in exactly the same situation. So we tied for the title, but we didn't get to go to the playoffs because of that loss.
Well, the Red Zone was there to see the Cardinals move into first place. In case you missed it, let's go to the highlight. Head coach John Thorne leading his Cardinals onto Wilder Field as North Central travels to Illinois Wesleyan to take on sophomore QB Rob Gallick and the Titans. Cardinals start with the ball on offense and are on the move after Tyler Dickens' 13-yard pass to Alex Hahn. After a 9-yard Dickens rush, he goes back to the air again, this time to Nick Slezak, who takes the 14-yard catch to the Wesleyan 20. Dickens would hand the reins to Jordan Tassio on the final play of the drive, and he rumbles in from 2 yards out, and the Cardinals jump out to a 7-0 lead. In the second quarter, Dickens goes back to work at his own 34-yard line on 2nd and 9. He's going for it all to Bai Kaba, who makes an over-the-shoulder grab for the 46-yard pass and catch. Cardinals are back in the red zone. Dickens would stay at the helm to finish off the 82-yard drive with a 6-yard touchdown pass to Alex Hahn. NCC up 14-0 with 5 minutes to go in the half. Now leading 17-0, the pump fake doesn't fake Joey Michaels, hurdling a Titan and rumbling 49 yards to the end zone for the pick 6 and stunning the homecoming crowd as the Cardinals take a 24-0 lead. It was more problems for Gallick later in the third, with the secondary covering the Titans receivers like a blanket. He's got nowhere to go. Jim Clendenny chases him down for the sack. Still in the third, Wesleyan with 3rd and goal looking to get on the board, but junior Josh Mitchell preserves the shutout with the interception in the end zone, and the Cardinals move to number 1 in the CCIW with a 24-0 shutout victory against Illinois Wesleyan. Coach, Illinois Wesleyan had the number 1 scoring defense in the league heading into this game, and you guys were able to put up 24 points against them. What was working well?
Well, I thought the guys ran the ball very well, especially Nick Kukok. He was possessed. He was running hard, but so was Jordan Tassio. He made some big plays for us. We completed some really nice passes, especially in the first drive that went down and scored. And then later in the game, we would have a good drive going, but we couldn't quite finish.
Right.
And so we didn't get as many points as we were hoping, but on the other hand, we had 33 minutes of time of possession, which really helps your defense.
How important was that opening possession for the Cardinals to take the kickoff, move down the field, and take a little bit of air out of that homecoming stadium?
I think it made a huge difference because it was a relatively quiet, homecoming game. They had a chance on the very next possession. They got a receiver open down the middle. We had a little bit of confusion. Both safeties rolled down, and our linebackers jammed him just enough that the throw right off the fingertips.
Right.
Now, had he caught that, it probably would have been a touchdown, and now their whole crowd would have really been in it. So we dodged a bullet there, and one other time in the second half, they got a guy open on the sidelines. Otherwise, our defense played about as close to perfect as you can, and so it was really fun to watch them, and especially the great interception, to stop the score by Josh Mitchell, who's a Bloomington guy, right at his hometown. That things got pretty noisy right then, but the noise was our side.
The team really was able to contain Rob Gallick, and he was the number one passer coming in. What was the strategy with the secondary, to hold him to what he was able to get?
Well, we worked really hard on our zone coverages. The defensive coaches did a fabulous job of getting guys to be patient, drop into their zones, and know what to expect. And so we were able to bat down several balls. We had the 4 picks, and Joey Michaels was pick 6, which I think gives us like 5 pick 6s already for the season, which is amazing. Last year we had 1 that went the distance, and we've got 5 this year. So the guys are really doing a wonderful job.
That really shows the athleticism of your defense. I mean, once they get the ball in their hands, they really turn into an offensive unit blocking for the next guy.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. And almost every interception happens because your defensive line have put some kind of pressure on the quarterback, and he throws a little too early, or he throws without looking carefully before he lets it go. But then when we catch it, especially the D-line are the first guys that have to peel back, and start forming that blocking wall for him. And Joey's a hurdler. He had to hurdle one guy, and then everybody else there was no chance to get there.
That was a pretty impressive run. But another guy you touched on earlier, he only saw the field for 4 plays, but he made the most of it. Punter Tyler Raschke, again being named All-CCIW Special Teams Player of the Week. What kind of day did Tyler have on the field?
Oh my gosh, it was gorgeous. 45-yard average per punt. He puts one out, a 49-yard punt, and it goes out on the 1-yard line. He kicks a 63-yard punt, and our 2 gunners get down there and stop it from going into the end zone. And so it was a combination of both the punter and your gunners doing their job. Really made for a great day, and that field position is so vital, especially in the biggest games.
Yep.
When we played Whitewater last year, their punter had a fabulous day, and so we had a long field every single time, and basically we forced, Wesleyan, except for 1 fumble, they had a pretty long field all day long.
Yep. Well, he may have only seen the field for 4 plays, but Tyler Raschke sure did make the most of it. And that's the focus in this week's What's the Word?
Raschke's been having a great year so far. Coming from a CCIW all-conference punter with Sean Wild last year, he's coming out and punting the ball awesome. He's rarely gets a touchback, and he pins him inside the 20 almost every time.
They need to talk about that guy more, because he had some bombs today, and I think he pinned him inside the 5 twice, and we had a guy. I don't think he's caught a ball that's got kicked that high. I think that's why he fumbled it. So, yeah, he's huge, man. He's a huge part of the team, and he deserves more credit.
All I want to do is just get the ball up so my gunners had chances to get down there. And going with the win, just put it on the 1 each time. It's just all I want to do is just put it up in the air.
At the time both of those were kicked, I was trying to figure out what we could do on offense to improve. But I hear a roar, and I turn around and I see they're stuck on their 1-yard line. And he's a great punter. We're lucky to have a guy like him.
We always say every week, special teams that beat into our heads. It's one of the most important things on the game. You have to play all 3 aspects of the game: offense, defense, special teams. And Tyler and all of our special teams did a great job of getting us field position, pinning them back, and you couldn't ask for anything more. I'm so proud of everybody.
Coach, the Cardinals really won the battle of field position thanks to Raschke, but you guys also won the turnover battle. 3 picks on the day. How big were those?
Well, they were huge. In fact, I think we had 4 picks on the day, and to see Stu Charles get back out there after having the bad thumb injury and so forth, and we got this fancy little brace that worked really well for him. To get that pick late in the game, I was really happy to see that one also, but the guys are doing a great job. We got another turnover with our punt team, which doesn't happen too often. And Greg Dixon did a great job of diving on that loose ball when the guy tried to fair catch it and, bounced away from him just a little bit.
You touched on this a little bit earlier, but Josh Mitchell gets that pick in the end zone in the third quarter. How big was that in keeping the shutout?
Well, that was huge, and it was a route that they had practiced against all week long. They were pretty sure they were going to see that route, but it's still not easy to defend it, The field gets shrunk down, and a lot of times that's in favor of the defense, but when they're running that route trying to escape away from you, I mean, you've really got to plant your foot and accelerate in a hurry.
Right.
And then he dove and made a great catch. So it was a very athletic play.
It was very acrobatic. I mean, he sprawled out for that one.
He did.
But it wasn't just the secondary that was having a good game. Gallick never really seemed to be comfortable in the pocket because of the defensive line. 2 sacks on the day, and he seemed to be pressured all game long.
That's a good point, Mark, because he came in, I think, throwing like 67% completion.
Yeah, he was the highest rated passer.
Right, and he was under 50% and very rattled on several of the throws, so that pressure is huge, and our D-line did a great job.
You got a little bit different type of offense you're facing this weekend, not really a passing team, but they do have the number 1 rusher in the CCIW and Scott Williams. How are you guys going to contain Elmhurst Blue Jays?
Well, last year he was number 1 in the conference, and we had a really good day, and they just quit trying to hand the ball to him. And so the entire second half, they threw almost every single down.
Wow.
So they'll throw it a lot. Now, whether we can control that running game again, we got to wait and see, because he's very shifty and he's very fast, and so it'll be a very interesting game. But I guarantee you, Elmhurst will come out and they'll run at the beginning, and if they're successful, now they're going to be able to run and pass throughout the whole game. But if we slow that run down and force them to throw it a lot, then it's a little bit easier to, get your D-line to know what they need to do on every play. So it should be a great game of chess. Who's going to do what and who's going to react how, and what adjustments are you going to make, and so forth.
Well, the Red Zone looks forward to seeing it. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, Coach and I dig into the trenches with members of the Cardinal offensive and defensive lines. Keep it right here on the Red Zone.